Hi guys, and welcome back to Spaced Out. Today we'll be talking about the planets in our solar system and each of their characteristics. This is a fun topic because I think it's cool to see how alike yet completely different these planets are or were from each other. Let's get started. First of all, the planets in our solar system are classified by type, one of three. There are the terrestrial planets, which are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, the gas giants, Jupiter and Saturn, and the ice giants, Uranus and Neptune. Of course, there are also dwarf planets, our favorite being Pluto, along with ones that you may not have heard of, Eris, Haumea, and Makemake. I'm splitting this episode up into two, and the first one, this one, will be about Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, with the other four in the next episode. First is Mercury. Mercury is the planet closest to the Sun and the smallest one. It's about 4,880 kilometers across, or about 1,790 miles. Mercury's core is made out of a thick iron, and its outside is a thinner rocky layer. Surprisingly, this planet is also one of the most dense to what the planet is made out of. A rotation of the planet is actually quite slow, and given its proximity to the Sun, you would imagine that it would be hot all year long in Mercury. But because it doesn't have the atmosphere to trap the heat like our Earth does, it has very varied temperatures. It can get up to 800 degrees Fahrenheit, about 427 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. However, it can also get down to negative 290 degrees Fahrenheit, or negative 180 degrees Celsius. Some cool facts about the planet is that your weight on Mercury would only be 38% of your weight on Earth. 1 year on Mercury is equal to about 88 days here on Earth, as opposed to our 365 days, just because of its proximity to the Sun, so it has a smaller orbit. It doesn't have any moons, one of two planets along with Venus, and isn't easily seen unless in twilight. Mercury is only in transit with the Earth 13 times a century, the next transit being November 13th, 2032. The next planet is Venus. Venus is the second planet from the Sun and is the second brightest natural object in the sky. Venus is actually considered Earth's sister planet. It has a really similar composition to the Earth because of its similar size, mass, density, and gravity, but it has a really high surface temperature, an intense pressure, and a smothering atmosphere. Scientists believe that Venus once had oceans and water like the Earth, but lost them to space a long time ago. Venus's atmosphere is kind of like a smothering blanket, with a very thick atmosphere that traps heat. It essentially lets heat in, but keeps the heat in rather than releasing it, made even more extreme with its close distance from the Sun. Venus's diameter is 7,521 miles, about the same size as Earth. 1 day in Venus is actually shorter than 1 year in Venus. One rotation is 243 days, while one revolution or one orbit takes 225 Earth days. The average temperature on Venus is 827 degrees Fahrenheit, or 462 degrees Celsius, again, hot enough to melt lead. And Venus is actually the closest planet to us and surprisingly trumps Mercury in being the hottest planet in our solar system. The reason we're going to Mars to establish a colony rather than Venus, even though it's closer, is because of Venus's inhabitable conditions. Next comes Earth, but I'm betting you have a pretty solid understanding of it. A couple facts about the Earth that'll help you visualize the scale and characteristics of the other planets are that Earth's diameter is about 7,918 miles, and all the days that I'm mentioning for the other planets are in terms of Earth days, obviously, to make it easier to wrap your head around. Earth has a thick atmosphere, though thinner than Venus. However, its atmosphere is most similar in composition to Venus's. Earth can get up to about 131 degrees Fahrenheit, or 57 degrees Celsius, and as low as about negative 129 degrees Fahrenheit, or about negative 89 degrees Celsius. Now for Mars. Mars is the fourth planet from the Sun and the second smallest planet in our solar system. Mars is a terrestrial planet with a thin atmosphere made up of mostly carbon dioxide and has a diameter of about 4,212 miles. Mars had water in the past, confirmed by a soil test done by the Phoenix lander to discover ice under the surface. However, they also realized that when the ice was exposed to the atmosphere of Mars, it sublimated. Sublimation is a term referring to the physical process where a solid turns directly into a gas without passing through the liquid form. A cool fact about Mars that I just learned is that when you're on Mars, the sun actually appears half the size as it does from the Earth. Mars has two small moons, irregularly shaped and smaller than our moon, called Phobos and Deimos. A day in Mars is about the same length as a day on Earth, except 37 minutes longer. This is the end of the first part of this episode, and if you are interested in learning about the other 4 planets in our solar system, you'd also like to tune in to part 2 of this episode. Thank you for listening, and I hope you found it interesting.